Good morning, St. Paul's. Today is Wednesday, August 27th, and you're watching Wolf TV, bringing you the latest news, sports, entertainment, and everything in between. We've got a great show for you today. Here are the announcements for today. There will be a HOSA meeting today during the first half of lunch, room 212, main school building.
The boys volleyball team is having a meeting in the main school building, room 114, at lunch today.
Now let's take a look at today's news. In a shocking turn of events, Israel has launched more strikes in Gaza to try to target and destroy weapons and tunnels used by militants. At least 20 people were killed on Monday when shelling struck Nasser Hospital, killing journalists working for Reuters, the Associated Press, Al Jazeera, and others. 34 more people were also killed in strikes in the enclave overnight and on Tuesday. The Israeli Defense Force is preparing to launch a new offensive in Gaza City in what it describes as Hamas's last bastion. Israel protesters blocked roads in Tel Aviv and elsewhere in the country, holding up pictures of hostages still held in Gaza and calling for the war to end. A rally planned outside Israel Defense Headquarters later on Tuesday is expected to draw thousands of people.
3 separate lawsuits have been filed against Smitty's Supply Incorporated following the explosion and fire that took place over the weekend at their Roseland oil business. The lawsuits filed with the Tangipahoa Parish Clerk of Court did not list any immediate information, just the heading that read Smitty's Supply Fire. At least one of the lawsuits was filed by a Roseland resident, while the other plaintiffs' residents were not apparent. Officials reported that there were no injuries at the plant. The emergency forced an initial evacuation around the facility for a 1-mile radius. Regulatory records show that there are at least 250 homes with 474 residents in that area as of a couple of days ago. Officials shrank the evacuation area by Monday to a smaller radius around the plant. This comes after testing the air quality around the plant.
Now, here comes Wolf TV Trivia.
Now let's look at today's sports news. Auburn football has claimed 4 new national championships. These newly recognized titles are for the 1910, 1914, 1958, and 2004 seasons, bringing their total to 9. This is looked at as a little controversial by the college football world, particularly in eras before the BCS and college football playoff systems. Many programs use a lot of historical polls to justify their claims, and there isn't always a universally accepted definition of a national title. Some might consider Auburn's recent move to be a form of history rewriting, while others might see it as a legitimate attempt to recognize past achievements. Taking a national championship just because of your opinion on your own team is a little off. If an undefeated Auburn team claims a national championship, who's to say that a team like Ohio State wouldn't have blown them out in those years? Considering it was so long ago, I guess we'll never know. Recapping the Premier League games we talked about last week, Tottenham got another in the win column. The Spurs beat a terrible-looking Manchester City team 2-0. Arsenal manhandled Leeds United in a 5-0 win. Timber and Gyökeres both scored doubles for Arsenal. In the Aston Villa vs Brentford game, Villa's performance was quite disappointing. Brentford came out with a 1-0 victory on the day. All of these teams look to improve as the season goes on.
Now it's time for History Today.
Now let's take a look at the world of entertainment. Subnautica 2, the long-awaited sequel to the underwater survival game from 2018, has been riddled with issues throughout the game's development. The parent company, Krafton, has allegedly filed the founders, delaying the game from 2025 to 2026. The founders filed a lawsuit that is still ongoing now. Subnautica 2 is scheduled to launch in early access in 2026. The sequel will introduce major new features including multiplayer for up to 4 players, a significantly overhauled base building system, a new genetic adaptation system, the introduction of new and larger biomes filled with unique creatures, expanded vehicle customization including new submersible types, and an overall larger and more dynamic world. The game will introduce numerous new creatures including larger versions of familiar types and at least one new Leviathan, such as a squid shark-like creature.
Right. Welcome back to Hansberger FM. Last week, my favorite artist of all time, Mac DeMarco, released his 6th studio album, Guitar. Going into it, I was extremely hyped. It's been 6 whole years since his last album, so I was expecting big things. And to be honest, I'm a little disappointed. The album definitely isn't bad by any means, but it's not nearly as enjoyable as his past projects. A big problem I have with this record is that every song kind of blends together. Every song is around the same beats per minute, and the guitar in every track sounds the same. Regardless of these gripes, I still enjoyed it. My favorite song is the opening track, Shining. I'm a big fan of the chorus and its chord progression. Overall, I give Guitar a 6 out of 10. Not Mac's best work, but certainly not bad. Now for the joke of the day. Sam, why don't eggs tell jokes to each other?
Why don't they?
Because they crack each other up. That's our show for today, Wolves. Thank you for watching Wolf TV, and until next time, let's make it a great day.